worshiper, songwriter, Janisa Torres. A lot of us have heard her single called My Restoration. And we have a lot of questions to find out where her inspiration came from. And we would like to welcome Janisa.
Thank you for having me.
What season of your life was this song born or inspired?
This song was inspired in a time in my life where I was completely broken. I had so many things going on in my life. I was continuously in this routine that I couldn't break out of, and I had fallen into a hole, and I didn't know how to get out. And I was like, God, you know, it's time for me to actually go towards your promises. I was tired of the same thing that continuously kept happening in my life, and again falling into the same hole all the time. And I was just like, God, I can't do this anymore. I want to move forward. I want to go to the promises that you've promised me many years ago, and I want to reach it. And then I started to write this song. I tried to make the song as transparent and authentic as possible, because I know that a lot of people go through these cycles, as in the devil keeps trying to put us in the same routine over and over again, and we think we get up, we think we're good, but then we fall back into the same place. And I want it to be as authentic as possible, because I know I'm not the only person that goes through things like that. You know, God, the devil is out for all of us, and I know that just like me, there's other people out there that are tired of these cycles, that are tired of these routines, and it's time to break free. It's time to run to our promises, and that's where my inspiration came from.
Amen. There was a part in the song that says, I mess up. How did you mess up? How did God restore you?
Well, I messed up because ever since I was small, I had the same thing continuously come into my life, which was the devil always using worldly love, as in a male. And that was always something that the devil always kept trying to put into my life, was finding somebody, you know. And not that it's a bad thing to have someone in your life, but I kept choosing the wrong people. And this time of my life, when I wrote the song, it was in a moment where I fell horribly. I was trapped, like I was saying, in these cycles of always being good spiritually, and then somebody would come into my life and he wasn't from God, and I would fall into temptation, or I would fall into in a relationship with somebody that I wasn't supposed to be with, obviously disobeying God and it being a sin. When I wrote the song, I had just ended a relationship with someone, and I was just so angry at myself because I couldn't believe that I allowed myself to fall in temptation with somebody else again, you know, because it was just a continuous thing. And I told God that I messed up. I did it. Like, I'm not gonna come and lie to people and be like, I'm a perfect Christian, because even while being a Christian, I messed up. I fell into temptation. I fell into that hole again and again and again. And I was like, God, I can't do this anymore. I can't continue to hurt myself and my spiritual relationship with you, because I love my relationship with you, God. And I can't keep letting temporary things in this world stop me from getting to your promises. So that is what happened at that moment, that I did mess up and I did fail God. But I told myself that I wasn't going to continue to do that anymore. And that's what that part of the song means, that I messed up.
Were there any signs that God showed you to avoid the fall?
Oh gosh, yes, unfortunately, yes, and I didn't listen to him. There was many times that even myself, God would speak to my spirit, and just because I had such a desire to be with somebody, I would ignore God completely. Even my parents are true people in God, and there were times where God would use them to even speak to me like, no, this is not the person that you're supposed to be with. Like, this is not your time to be with somebody. You need to just focus on God. And I would ignore, because that's what we do. Why do we do that? We just tend to just let our emotions, our heart, guide the way, when it's not supposed to be that way. When even in the Bible it says, don't let your heart deceive you, but we do. We let our heart deceive us all the time, and that's what kept happening to me, was that I just let my emotions take over, and I ignored God, and I was like, God, no, I think he's good for me, God. I think we can work this out. Like, oh, I could, or the famous one that a lot of girls like to say is that I can change him, and that's what we stay stuck on. And I was like that for years, and I didn't learn from the first or the second or the third, because that was my process. Mm-hmm.
How did you handle the criticism and rejection?
So I believe that has to do with when I got pregnant. That was really difficult. Even at home, it was a battle at home. Just the fact that I had to even tell my parents that I had gotten pregnant outside of marriage, and because I was raised in church, and that's something that's frowned upon, and usually you're supposed to wait until you get married, have your family and everything, but unfortunately it was me, the pastor kid, that unfortunately not unfortunately, because she's a blessing, but I got pregnant, and it was really difficult to see how many Christians in my community were acting towards me because of that. Instead of being there for me or helping me, giving me words, and some people did, but a lot of people just kind of rejected me from the start. They were hoping for me to actually stay there in this hole that I was in, and like I said, it was really difficult, and I had to just ignore everybody around me. I had to just I just had to focus on me and my family, and just let God do what he needed to do, because I know God knew my heart, and I know that I messed up, but I got a beautiful little girl out of it, and I'm extremely blessed with her. And a lot of people may not see that, but I know that God had a plan in the midst of my disobedience, and a lot of people think that they have to stay there in that shame, and I thought I had to stay there in that shame forever, be like, oh my God, I'm the one that I'm one of the pastor kids that got pregnant, outside of marriage, and I had to stay that way. But no, I refused to stay there. I refused to let that be what people were going to call me. Like, no, I'm still a child of God. I'm still restored, and I'm still moving on to my promises, no matter what anybody says, no matter what I'm going through. And I'm going to do it with my daughter, and I'm going to show her that just how I went through this and just how I'm pushing through it, she can do it too. So it was hard, but you can do anything through God.
What inspired you to write a song about your testimony?
So what inspired me to write this song were all those ladies out there that may be going through the same thing that I am. It may not be the exact same situation, but we can relate to each other. And I want to let them know that they're not alone, that we are all fighting through this. So single mommies out there that are going through it right now, I want them to know that Jesus isn't done with them. They still have a chance to go run to God and repent of their sins and go to Jesus and tell them that they want to start new. There's still a chance for that. It wasn't too late for me, so it's not too late for them. And I know that God can show them the way, even in a difficult time of, being a single mom. It's not easy, but it's not impossible when we have God in our lives. And I trust God 100%. And I know it's not easy to trust God, especially, with everything going on these days, but I trust God, and I want everybody else to know, not only ladies, but even other guys or teenagers or, that go through the same thing, and that it's okay that we mess up, but the important part is that we get up and we trust God and that we let Him guide us in this path that we have. So that's my inspiration, and I really hope that this song reaches those ladies or men or teenage women or guys that are going through certain situations, because we're all on our way to our promises if we let God guide us. So yeah, that was my inspiration for the song.
What would you advise your audience if someone has messed up and needs restoration?
So what I would say to them is that you're not alone. God is with you. Run to Jesus as fast as you can, and don't let the enemy allow those thoughts of shame, of guilt get into your mind, because your mind is your worst enemy. Once something comes in, it's just going to travel and travel and travel, and it could lead into depression, it could lead into sadness, it can lead into so many different things. But once you cut it off from that first thought, then and you let it go to Jesus, then you're set. There's many times where I have mental battles with the things of my past, but I just gotta be like, no, it's time to look for Jesus. It's time to run to our promises. It's time to stop letting the devil take advantage of us in any type of way, and stop giving the devil our promises in his hands. We need to take it back, and we need to trust God, and we need to move forward and run and run and run to His promises. You are not alone. God is with you. There's many of us that are going through the same thing, and we're here together. We are united in Christ, and that's all that matters. I'm glad to be here to share this, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that need to hear this, and that I hope and pray that through this they are restored and that they find God and that they do run to their promises.
Thank you, Janisa Torres, for making us part of your journey and share with us that we are not alone, and that God is a God of restoration.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you again. Thank you guys for watching, and share this video to those who need it the most, that are maybe going through the same things that I've been through, and that this video can really help them in their times of need. If you haven't heard the song already, again, it's called My Restoration. You can find it on all music platforms, including YouTube. So God bless you guys. I love you guys, and see you guys later.